What up, world? Anti Guru. Today, I want to talk about Kevin Samuels and what Kevin Samuels means to men, especially in the modern age, in the time that we are now. Why Kevin Samuels' rise is so important and game changing. For years, we have watched, men have watched as other men have been destroyed for truth. We have watched as men have had to have been castrated, neutered, killed, hanged, destroyed, their livelihood crumbled, alligated against. We have had to watch men be destroyed for just saying the truth. And it doesn't have to be there's no it's my truth. There's no it's their truth. There's no oh it's just my opinion. No. We have we have as men, from boys to men, have watched as children our role models, leaders, people that have inspired us, people that have watched over us, people that have defended us, people that have had our best interest at heart. We have watched those men of noble means. They don't even have to be perfect, but we've watched those men who have strived to be better men get destroyed by society, and no one helps them just for speaking the truth. Once you spoke the truth before before Kevin Samuels, not even before Kevin Samuels, just in this time that we're in right now, if you spoke the truth before then, you were canceled. Your job was ruined, your life was ruined, your family was ruined, everything was ruined because you spoke the truth about what you saw, about what was going on. Even if you backed it up by data, facts, statistics, uh, somebody that just saw you witness the whole thing and they saw them another person witness the whole thing. Somebody can swear on a Bible and witness the whole thing, and if it was a man telling that truth, he would be destroyed, completely and utterly destroyed. Men and boys and other men watched those things happen. We watched as other men just kept turning away and shying away from saying the truth and shying away from being any type of example of a real man, shying away from holding on and standing on to their standards and being being men, being able to be bold, being able to be noble, being able to be true, being able to stand for something. We watched as men for years kept getting knocked down for standing for something. So what did that teach us? What did we learn? Oh, once somebody stands for something, it's only a matter of time before they die. It was a popular meme online. It was a popular way of saying anytime for years anybody said something true, we counted down the days to their deaths. But now the culture is shifting. This is why people like Kevin Samuels, Patrice O'Neal, uh, Austria Dick, all of these guys that told the truth are now being able to stand and say on their truth. Not even their truth, the truth. The fact that they're bringing statistics, data, and verifiable facts. The fact that they're bringing experiences that we all have shared. We all have shared the same story, especially in the black community. In the black community, we've been like, man, this has been going on for decades. I can't even remember a time where a black woman has given me a compliment and it wasn't something backhanded or some kind of insult or some kind of like some kind of hate. I've been feeling as a black man hated by black women for almost my entire life, and it didn't make no sense to me. This is why someone like Kevin Samuels is important because one, he's lived through the eras that we have lived through. He have lived through the 70s, 80s, 90s, and the thousands and can see the things change and how they got there. And he's at a time now where he's able to speak on those things and not have to worry about, well, this is the first time that we're seeing that he doesn't have to worry about his protection. People are saying protect Kevin at all costs. Protect Kevin, or he's a national treasure. That whole protection meme became a reality for people that have started saying the truth, which is why now more than ever, as we are approaching this culture in the West, this climax of culture in the West, where men have to stand and take control of what is going on in the West, or this society will fall. Relationships are in the garbage, they're in the trash. Not even men and women don't even want to relate to each other in the West. They do, but only as far as getting sex. Right now, it is a free for all. Nothing is. If you listen to the shows, nothing makes sense as far as people want traditional ways, traditional means, traditional weddings, but don't want to be traditional people. We're living in the modern age, and the modern age is the individualistic age, but yet men have still kept their traditional ways, and women have separated themselves from us. Like we said, like he makes it a proponent of the black community, but it's also just a whole worldwide phenomenon, not worldwide phenomenon, it's a Western phenomenon of women just disrespecting men in general. How can you hate the people that have built your whole entire world? Because if we were just plopped on the world like God intended, or whoever made it intended us, and it was just male, women, and men and women, and all you have is just nature, people would die. We have proved that nature will be out to kill you every single day. If there was wild coyotes just rolling about, we got fencing borders, and we've civilized the world so much that we barely even see wild animals. Wild animals is so rare that was usually natural disasters for people that had to worry about was a wild animal attack. We barely have wild animal attacks anymore. Like let that sink in. We barely have wild animal attacks anymore. But we have civilized the world in so much that women have forgot that even wild animals exist. Like dangerous wild animals, unless they're like in like some bubba fuck plains nowhere in the jungle, dense as hell, and it's like an Amazon. Then they're aware of those wild animals out here might die. This is why Kevin Samuels has been is important to modern men in the modern world in general, because he's breaking down the the communication barriers. He's telling he's able to tell women the truth of what they've caused, the problems that they've perpetuated into the future from the past, and he's able to take it from all types of perspectives. See, the reason why Kevin Samuels is doing so well with telling the truth is because he hasn't let the truth become he hasn't become a caricature of what he's trying to do. He hasn't become a caricature of the truth. And also too, when he's telling it, he doesn't let what's going on flip him in a way where he has to tell it his way. He just tells it the way that it is. And here's what I mean. There's a lot of people that have gone the exact same path that Kevin has gone. And that is telling women the truth about themselves and what's going on in relationships. But what we have seen time and time again is that when a man becomes some kind of popularity or gets some kind of fame or some kind of recognition for telling the truth, he starts becoming a caricature of what made him become popular for telling the truth. Like they'll be getting like say if a woman calls into the show and the man has all of a sudden start becoming drunk off of his truth telling power, he'll start doing things in a way where it's like, well, I'm right all the time because I tell the truth, and also you're wrong all the time. And not only you wrong all the time, I'm gonna insult you on top of that. Not only am I gonna insult you on top of that, I'm gonna do all this extra stuff on top of that. Not only do all this extra stuff on top of that, I'm gonna make it so that I'm always in the paragon of being right, and anyone else is always in the paragon of being wrong. Instead of saying that, instead of saying, well, I could be right, I could be wrong, and then trying to figure out the data and statistics to support his argument, some people let that ego trip of being truthful or carrying the truth and people starting to recognize it is that they are above the truth. They are above being verified for what they're saying. They are above being vetted, being verified, being recognized, being acknowledged because they've been telling the truth for so long, and now you're finally starting to acknowledge them that they feel it's kind of like the childish, oh, now that I have recognition for this thing and I'm good at it, I'm gonna keep on boasting it in your face and holding it over your head and bashing you in the head with it in whatever ways that I can in order for you to feel less about yourself for not knowing this the whole time. They get too much of that and don't allow people to grow with them. But this is where Kevin is different as far as right now, because Kevin is keeping it the same way that he's kept it with the men, he's keeping it with the women. Now the women can't handle it. And the women dealing with women and telling the truth is very exhausting because women do not want to acknowledge, they don't want to accept, and they don't want to change. Most of them do not, unless they have some kind of reasoning outside of themselves to change. They have to value something in order to want to change for it. Other than that, they won't. But see, the thing is, they don't value men nowadays. And how Kevin is showing the horror stories that men would used to tell, like that would go around in the black community all day and night about women and how they're acting and how you can't tell them nothing. And then when you tell them something, other men want to attack you, and then other niggas want to sit there and try to beat you up. And because you talk about their mom, even though their mom is a horrible person, but you can't talk about their mom and tell them that their mom is actually a horrible person, because once you tell them they're a horrible person, it's like, no, you can't be talking about women at all. So da 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 da. So it was a so many barriers that you would have to go through as a single man to break down this this wall of oppression, destruction, and tyranny that black women have built and perpetuated into the community that black men just couldn't fight against. Black men couldn't fight against it. But now, in a sense, we have someone that's willing to take the arrow, in a sense. But he hasn't, like, these things have been going on for years, and these things that black people have been saying for years. But now that everybody's kind of on the same pain tip, it's more being exposed because we are now seeing that women in power do not mix at all. And especially with black women with power, black women have destroyed and betrayed their own community because they were trusted with power and never even brought it back to their men. Modern women as a whole just don't like men. Modern women don't treat men with decency and respect. But you'll have nuances of communities that still have their men and have their relationships. Like white women share these, they have these feminist ideas and these problems, but they argue with their boyfriends. They don't argue with their single friends. They argue with their friends that have boyfriends. You see? Black women out here just doing it single, by themselves and strong and independent with it. He's bringing Kevin Samuels is bringing up the issues that should have been talked up and dealt with by our community a long time ago, so that people like me and other people could have focused on our missions and our paths and lives, and been in relationships, or been in partnerships, or been not even partnerships, been in relationships and building partnerships and kingdoms and foundations and having families and things like this. This has The reason why Kevin Samuels is becoming so popular is because this moment is very important. I've never felt like we were at a very important time in history until now, because there's a lot of truth that's able to come out without blood spill. And now it has to be faced. This this thing, like, there's been a big draw in Kevin's community, in Kevin's comment section, where people are like, man, why do I feel like I want to drop everything and just listen to this? And I'm like, yeah, because this is what matters. This is what matters. We modern people, but the black community in general has been entertained to death. We have not had any semblance of real conversation, real connection, and real solving these issues, because everybody is willing to just turn away, don't want to cause any more issues, don't want to have the women upset, don't want to be the ones that are singled out because they're telling the women that the women are crazy, and don't want to have their whole life disrupted because now they're females mad over. Like, this has to be where the strong men stand together, and everybody focuses on their thing. And you have to be able to speak out despite what your thing is. You might not be a YouTuber. You might not be a fucking image consultant. You might just be a barbershop guy. But now is the time for even just the barbershop guy, or even the guy that's homeless, or even the guy that tried and failed and keep on trying, that to tell his experience of what and how this whole relationship shit and this strong female independent shit, and the way that women have treated him has affected his life. Because in the black, especially in the black community, because in the black community, the reason why 1 in 4 women are married and 3 in 4 aren't is because of this our basic dealings with each other, our basic relationships, our basic beliefs. And it's been going on for years. People have been turned off from, especially black men have been turned off from black women for years, because nobody has been able to have these conversations on a platform that Kevin has been able to build, on a scale that Kevin has been able to build it, which is dope, because now it feels like something is moving rather than everything being stuck in place, and we're all just sitting here trying to entertain each other, and it's just, oh, let's just forget about our real issues and forget about the real problems and just put somebody in makeup and a camera and put clowns in the show and everybody performs in a circus. This is why it's so encouraging to see someone like Kevin succeed, because he's succeeding where a lot of people have died to try to bring us to bring our attention to these things. Done.